Something extremely wrong is happening in America right now. Thousands of American restaurants are disappearing right before people's eyes. Not just the small places, but also the brands that once dominated America. Red Lobster, TGI Fridays, Applebee's, places that used to have long lines for tables. Now the parking lots are completely empty. And when you look closer, you start to realize this is not normal at all. A burger costs $18 plus a 25% tip. Employees have their hours cut. The owner is drowning in debt. At the same time, Americans are gradually stopping spending money on things that used to be very basic. And perhaps the scariest part is this is not just a story about food. This is a story of millions of Americans who are starting to no longer be able to live as they used to. There is something very interesting about the restaurant industry that most people do not notice. Restaurants often feel a recession before the economy does. Not Wall Street. Not the guys on TV talking about GDP. It is the people standing in the kitchen on Friday night who suddenly start wondering, why is it so quiet today? And the scary thing is restaurant owners often notice it before the press reports that the economy is in trouble. Because when people start worrying about money, the first thing they cut back on is almost always eating out. First they skip appetizers, then drinks, then dessert, then they start sharing portions, and eventually they stop coming altogether. This may sound trivial, but for the restaurant industry, it is like watching the heartbeat of the economy slowly decline on a monitor. Have you noticed this recently? Many restaurants are still lit up. The staff are still standing there. The menu is still the same. But the feeling inside is completely different. Less talking. Fewer people waiting for a table. The parking lot is emptier, especially on weekends, a time that used to be the golden hour for casual dining chains in America. And this is what many people do not understand. Restaurants actually operate on very thin profit margins. Hearing about a restaurant with several $1 million in revenue sounds impressive. But after rent, employee salaries, ingredients, utilities, delivery app fees, taxes, and endless other expenses, many places only make a profit of a few percent. Just one bad month is enough to trigger crisis. A restaurant owner once said something like this: "We did not go bankrupt because of one disaster. We are dying slowly because hundreds of small bills increase at the same time." And that is exactly what is happening in America right now. Beef prices are rising. Eggs are up. Cheese prices are rising. Rent has increased. Shipping costs are increasing. Labor wages are increasing. Even paper towels and takeout containers have become more expensive. There was even a period when many restaurants added fuel surcharges just to receive ingredient deliveries. Sounds absurd, right? But the problem is customers are also being crushed at the same time. This is the most painful part of the story. Many people online have started calling restaurants greedy because burgers now cost $18 or $20. And after taxes and tips, looking at the bill feels emotionally exhausting. But on the other side, the restaurant owner is staring at ingredient invoices wanting to cry. Both sides feel cheated. And that is an extremely dangerous sign for the economy because people have not stopped enjoying restaurants. They simply started no longer being able to enjoy them comfortably. That is a huge difference. In the past, going to Applebee's or Chili's Grill and Bar after work was a normal thing. Now many people sit there mentally calculating whether they should just go home and eat noodles instead. Sounds funny, but when millions of people think the same way at the same time, an entire industry starts shaking. And the scarier thing is restaurants might only be the first domino. There's a reason why so many people leave restaurants recently with the same feeling. Wait, did I really just pay nearly $30 for this? And the problem is it is no longer happening only at fancy steakhouses. Burgers, fries, chicken rice, simple meals that used to feel affordable now feel strangely expensive. A burger fries soda combo can easily hit $20-25 after taxes and tips. Some people even joke that fast food now feels like signing a short-term consumer loan contract. Sounds funny, but more and more people do not find it funny anymore. Interestingly, Americans today are not just shocked by the high prices. They are shocked by the feeling that it is no longer worth it. That is what is quietly killing casual dining. If you pay $100 for a truly special experience, many people can still accept it. But when you pay $20 for a frozen burger, a few fries, and a soda full of ice, the discomfort arrives immediately. The internet is full of stories like this now. *$15 chicken bowls. *$7 fries. Asterisk tip prompts at self-checkout. Asterisk suggested tips of 25% or even 30%. People stare at the payment screen like they just opened a rent increase notice. And the strange part is many restaurants are not getting rich from this. Customers think the restaurant is greedy. The restaurant thinks customers disappeared. In reality, both are being squeezed by the same machine. That is why this story is not just about prices. It is about the feeling that the entire dining experience in America is slowly deteriorating. And then there is tip culture. Perhaps never in modern history have Americans been asked for tips this aggressively. Buy coffee? Tip screen. Buy donuts? Tip screen. Use self-checkout? Somehow still ask for a tip. Even many employees hate this system because instead of businesses directly raising wages, the pressure gets shifted onto customers. The result is everybody becomes irritated with each other. Customers feel guilt-tripped. Employees feel underpaid. Restaurants feel trapped. A vicious cycle. Have you noticed something else? In the past, people went out to eat to relax. Now many people look at menus like they are analyzing stocks. Is this burger worth $18? If I add tip and tax, what will the final total be? Should I just go home and cook? And when millions of people start doing mental math before every meal, the entire industry immediately feels it. But here's the terrifying twist. Americans are still spending money. The malls still have people. Parking lots still have cars. But traditional sit-down restaurants are becoming emptier because people are switching toward places that feel more valuable. Chipotle Mexican Grill, Costco wholesale food courts, air fryers at home, quick takeout, delivery apps. That is why many casual dining chains are trapped in an impossible situation. Raise prices and customers leave. Keep prices low and losses pile up. And the craziest part? Inflation is still not the biggest reason many famous restaurant chains collapsed. Because behind the scenes is something many people call the silent vampire of American business, private equity. It sounds complicated, but the concept is simple. An investment fund buys a famous brand. Then it tries to extract as much money as possible, as quickly as possible. Sometimes saving the business is not even the priority. Look at Red Lobster, one of the most famous examples. After major ownership changes, one of the first moves was selling much of the company's real estate. Then the restaurants had to rent back the same buildings they once owned. Imagine somebody selling your house and then charging you rent to keep living there. That is almost exactly what happened. Suddenly, the company had massive rent obligations every year, an incredibly dangerous burden in an industry with tiny profit margins. Customers walking into the restaurant usually never see this side of the story. They only notice smaller portions, slower service, declining quality, and higher prices. But behind it is a financial system squeezing profit out of the brand as quickly as possible. That is why many people say these chains are not simply going bankrupt. They are being financially harvested. TGI Fridays became another example. Multiple ownership changes, endless menu expansions, declining identity, lower quality, fewer staff. Because when businesses are forced to optimize short-term profit endlessly, the first thing that disappears is usually the customer experience. And customers sense that immediately. You walk into a restaurant and everything feels tired. Older chairs, cheaper menus, understaffed dining rooms, food that feels emotionally empty. That type of decline is difficult to measure with charts, but consumers feel it instantly. Then the most ironic thing happens. To save profits, companies cut quality, but the more quality disappears, the more customers leave. The more customers leave, the more financial pressure grows. A spiral with almost no escape. And perhaps the saddest part is Americans are not just abandoning restaurants because prices are high. Their entire lifestyle changed. Back in the 1990s and early 2000s, casual dining restaurants acted like public living rooms for the middle class. Friday nights at Applebee's, birthday dinners at Red Lobster, hanging out after shopping at TGI Fridays. It was not just about food. It was about gathering together. Now restaurants are competing not only with other restaurants, but also with *DoorDash, *TikTok, *Netflix, *.